I recently used Auth0 for the first time to build a side project, and I wanted to share with you some of my thoughts to help you decide if you want to use it. Um, the side project I built was spellsightwords.com. It was a spelling app for primarily for my daughter, but maybe it'll help other kids. And my first thought on Auth0 is that one assumption that was wrong was that I thought it would take me less time to build authentication. And that was not strictly true. I've used Devise with Rails, I've used Phoenix Gen Auth with Phoenix, and because I already knew another way to do it, doing it in a new, different way took me more time. That sounds kind of obvious now, but yeah, that is the reality. Now that I have done it with Auth0, I would say it probably will take less time with Auth0. I think also the question you need to ask yourself is less time to get where? Less time to get the first user to sign in production? Sure, yeah, maybe you already have a way that you can do that with, very quickly. But to get it to where the first user can reset their password, which means then you need to get sending email working in your new app, or getting the first user to sign in with Google or some other social connector. That getting to there, the Auth0 can get you there quite quickly, and then. Also, something I really like about where I am is maintenance going forward, where I don't have my app does not have some kind of a secret that it uses to encrypt passwords with. So I don't need to worry about rotating such a secret or what that would mean, or if it ever got exposed and I changed it, then can users still log in? All those worries go away. Also, while if you have users at all, even if you just have their first name, last name, and email, you need to have good security practices because you would not want that shared online. But you're taking on a lot less risk when you're not storing their passwords, their hashed and salted passwords. So my app in production does not have passwords. I don't even think, that I know of, I can't even go in the Auth0 management UI and see a user's password. I can reset it and log in as them, but I cannot see what password they use. So if they did use the same password for my app as what they do on Google, I can't learn it and then go sign into their Google. So yeah, from a security standpoint, also from a resources standpoint, this is a small thing, but as a hobby project, you want to host it for free. And so something I remember is when Phoenix Gen Auth switched from the bcrypt hashing algorithm being the default to the Argon 2, which is a much more secure hashing algorithm. But it is a memory-intensive hashing algorithm that I had a side project running on Fly.io on 250 megabytes of RAM. And either when the user created the password or the first time they signed in that moment, the app would run out of memory and just crash because the Argon 2 algorithm needed a chunk of memory just for a moment. But with Auth0, I think your first 7,000 users are free, which for any of my side projects, that would not be a problem. And yeah, if at that point, if I have more than 7,000 users, I'll gladly pay. So yeah, that was pretty cool that my app does not need the compute resources to salt and hash a password with whatever secure hashing algorithm is being used. So yeah, I like that. One thing to keep in mind is that, and this is something, it also sounds kind of obvious in hindsight, but going in, I didn't think through this, is that you will still need to learn how Auth0 works. Um, I made the mistake naively of just following some guide on the internet, and email was the identifier that I used. And so that created two problems. When a user would sign in um, for the first time, my app would create a user in the users table with that email. And the next time they sign in, we would check their email and we would know, okay, that is this user. But what if they change their email? If they change their email, my app would think, okay, this is a different user now. Let me create a new user. Or worse, if a user signed in with Google and then another user used that same email address to sign in, and if you didn't turn on email verification, then my app would just think it's the same user and another person could log in as there was a security hole. I had to actually figure out, okay, I did not know that Auth0 sees it as two different users. If a user logs in with Google or a user logs in with Auth0 username and password, Auth0 sees that as two separate users. And they have an API that they exposed for merging them if you want to, like so many apps on the internet do, that you could sign in with Google or with your username and password, and there's the concept that those are linked as the same user, but it's not done by default in Auth0. You're going to have to do some logic there. So I had to spend some time learning that Auth0 has an Auth0 ID, or they send a sub over that if you use that as the user's ID, that is unique. That will is unique across all users, and it will remain the same when the user changes their email. So both problems go away if I just use that as the identifier to decide, okay, is this a new user? Is this an existing user I already have? So for sure, 100%, going forward, I will want to build all of my side projects using Auth0 or something like it. I would like to use it at work. I think our authentication system at work is so mature that I have a hard time imagining what it would have been like to start from day one with Auth0 and how many changes we would have had to make to it. But I'm sure that could have been overcome. I do know, I at work, I maintain, my team maintains SalesLoft's authentication system. I know with certainty that having that outsourced to another SaaS, at least the auth part of it, would have saved us an enormous amount of human effort over the years. So I like it. I'm yet to see what it looks like when you really, when somebody is using it as a production app, when you customize the login screen and try to, really, really polish that experience. I guess I would need to see that before I could really say, use this in a public-facing production app that you're selling to users. But I mean, easy as a business-facing tool where, hey, this is a line of business application where someone's manager is telling them, go sign in at this place to use this thing, then for that already, I think Auth0 is an obvious yes. So I hope that helps you decide.